Okay, now that we have our image loaded in our folder and we have it hosted online, we need to do a couple of things to get it displayed on our canvas, which again, you may or may not want to display it on the canvas, but we want to make sure that it's there. So that's how we're going to make sure for now. And then you could always comment it out or comment it back in so you could see it or not see it. So the first thing we need to do is create a variable to store the image in. Then we need to load the image in the preload function. We need to create a preload function so that it loads before setup or draw starts. This is a funny JavaScript thing. We're not going to go into it, but if we're going to load sound files or images, we want to load them in a preload function so that all that happens before setup even runs, before our draw even runs. So we're going to do that, and then we want to display the image using the image function. So let's start by creating a variable. I'll create var, I'll call it eagle img. Great, now we have a variable. This variable will soon store our image. So I'm going to create this preload function. It looks just like setup and draw function preload with the parentheses and with the brackets. And inside this function, I'm just going to say, I'm going to set the value of this variable, eagle image. So I'm going to say eagle image equals, and I'm going to use this function called load image. And then I'm going to use the name of the image in these quotes. Oh, wow, that's hard to see. In these quotes, I'm going to write eagle.jpg. And you have to be really careful here to say eagle.jpeg. Sometimes it's JPG, sometimes you've got a PNG file and it's PNG. This needs to be correct. So if your code isn't working, there's a good chance that just some reference, either the variable name or the name of the file, is incorrect. So we need to be pretty careful with this one. So it's eagle.jpeg. So now I have this preload function, so I'm almost there, and I want to display the image. So let's display the image. Well, we want to display it in the setup function. We only want it to draw once because even if we draw shapes on top of it, we don't want to keep drawing the image in the background, right? Because then you're only going to see one shape at a time. It's going to draw image, shape, image, shape. So we want it to draw one time in the setup function. And I'm going to write image, right, the image function. And I'll say the name of the image is our variable now, right? Because our variable stores the image. So we'll say eagle img. And then the next two arguments are the x and y coordinate of the image, which we're going to give 0, 0 because we want it to start up here in the corner. So let's press play, and it should load, and we're not seeing anything, and that's because there's still a background here. So I'm going to get rid of this background, and then I'm going to press play again, and we see our eagle. So remember the flow, right? Setup runs once at the beginning of the program, draw runs again and again. So now we can try to draw ellipses. You can try to combine the random sketch with the ellipses, and this one, see if you could get ellipses to draw all over this image. We also noticed that this is pretty short, so we might want to make our canvas a little bit shorter, maybe 200. That might have been a little bit too short, but you could play around with that to make this the size that you want and make your image fit the whole canvas. So now we loaded our image, and just know that if you want to make sure that the image is there and that the colors are correct showing up, you can keep the image there, and if you don't want to see it, once you have your random shapes on top of it, you could just comment that out and it'll be gone. Because next we're going to grab the pixel color of this image and have it draw random shapes with that pixel color on top. So if we want to make sure it's right, we want to see the image, but then we won't want to see the image possibly once our portrait is done, so we can just comment out the display of this image, but it'll still be loaded, right? Because it's still loaded in this preload function, so we can still grab the pixel colors from these random locations, and we'll still be able to do that even though you don't see the image. But for now, let's see the image so that we know it's there.